Chapter 1. The Calm Before the Storm. It was a typical Saturday in the quiet town of Oak Ridge. The sun had just begun to rise, casting a golden glow over the neighborhood. Jake, a devoted father and husband, was up early, ready to start his meticulously planned day. He took great pride in his routines and found comfort in the predictability of his life. Jake had a passion for cars, especially his prized possession, a 2013 Boss 302 Mustang. He only drove it in the summer, avoiding rain and bad weather. For those occasions, he had a Jeep that could handle the elements. Today, he planned to spend a few hours washing and waxing the Mustang, a ritual he cherished. Before he could indulge in his automotive therapy, he had some fatherly duties to attend to. Jake's daughter, Megan, had a busy day ahead with her swim team. He had promised to pick up her friend Kylie on the way to the swim practice. The girls had a packed schedule with group swims, runs, gym training, and weight sessions. Coaches rotated to give individual workouts and time trials. When Megan was younger, Jake used to watch her practices from the stands. But as she grew older, she asked him to stop, saying it made her nervous. "Daddy, go live your life and I'll live mine," she had said. Reluctantly, Jake obliged. Now he would drop her off and head home. After ensuring Megan and Kylie were settled at the swim center, Jake returned home. His wife, Lisa, had already left for her usual Saturday morning yoga class at the Yoga Bliss studio. Lisa's dedication to her yoga practice was unwavering, and despite Jake's reservations about the studio's strict no-phone policy, he respected her commitment. Lisa had teased Jake about fixing the bed before leaving. "Don't forget to fix the bed, Mr. Perfectionist," she had said with a playful wink. Jake chuckled and promised he would, even though he knew she was joking. With Lisa gone and the house to himself, Jake had 3 uninterrupted hours to focus on his Mustang. As he meticulously washed and waxed his car, Jake felt a deep sense of contentment. He had a loving family, a great job, and a nearly paid-off house. Life was good. While he was in the middle of polishing the Mustang's hood, his phone buzzed with an incoming call. It was Carol, his mother-in-law, sounding hysterical. "Jake, it's Mark. He had a heart attack." Carol's voice trembled with fear and desperation. Jake's heart skipped a beat. Mark was more than just his father-in-law, he was like a second father to him. "Carol, calm down. Which hospital are they taking him to?" I don't know yet." "I'm waiting for the ambulance to arrive," Carol replied, her voice breaking. "Okay, stay calm. I'll try to reach Lisa. We'll meet you at the hospital," Jake assured her before hanging up. Jake knew Lisa wouldn't have her phone with her due to the yoga studio's no-phone policy. He decided to drive over and inform her in person. The Yoga Bliss studio was located in a serene part of town, its sign featuring a cartoon bear in a yoga pose. Jake parked his Jeep and hurried inside. The studio's traditional ambiance, with practitioners undressed as part of their practice, always struck Jake as odd. However, Lisa had explained it with humor, saying, "Eric, I am 34 and a mom. No one cares about my sagging bosom, flabby belly, and fat rear except you." Ignoring the awkwardness, Jake approached the receptionist. "Hi, I am looking for Lisa. It's an emergency, her father had a heart attack." The receptionist, Ella, a dreamy-eyed young woman, nodded sympathetically. "Lisa is in a one-on-one session with the guru. She's not at the advanced level yet." "Thanks, Ella," Jake said, hurrying toward the private session rooms. Before entering the room, Jake received a text from Carol with the hospital information. He opened the door, and what he saw made his blood boil. Lisa and the older Indian man, her guru, were in a compromising position that was anything but yoga. "Hi, guys!" Jake said loudly, his voice filled with anger. "What yoga pose is this?" Lisa and the guru scrambled to separate. Lisa screamed in pain as the guru pressed too hard on her leg. "Jake, it's not what you think," she moaned. Jake's fury was palpable. "What is this, then? It looks more like something else than yoga." The guru, a balding middle-aged man, tried to explain. "Jake, it is not what it seems. What you think you saw, you didn't see." Jake couldn't believe his ears. "Oh my gosh, he is quoting Will Smith now," he said, approaching the guru. Realizing the situation was dire, the guru jumped back into a defensive karate-like pose. Jake's fist connected with the guru's face, sending him sprawling and spitting out teeth. Jake's hand throbbed with pain, but his anger overshadowed any physical discomfort. As Jake turned to leave, Lisa, still moaning on the floor, called out, "Jake, I'm sorry. My leg really hurts. I think I need to go to the hospital." "Great," Jake snorted. "While you were here with that charlatan, your dad had a heart attack." Lisa's shock was evident. "What? No, Jake, please, I can drive. I need to go with you." Jake's voice was cold and distant. "Remember when I bought my Mustang, and you made me promise that no other woman would ever get in it? Given the circumstances, I can offer you a seat." Leaving the studio, Jake felt a profound sense of loss and betrayal. As he exited, he was blocked by two men, including the instructor who Jake had nicknamed Jesus. "Move," Jake growled, "or you'll see another side of this world." Jesus stepped aside, but the tattooed guy challenged him. Jake removed the guy's glasses and placed them on the floor. A crunch echoed as he walked out, leaving the tattooed guy in shock. Back at the hospital, Jake found Carol and hugged her as she cried. Mark was being prepped for surgery to have a stent placed. Jake tried to comfort Carol, but his mind was elsewhere, replaying the earlier confrontation. Half an hour later, the surgeon informed them that Mark would recover with a strict diet and exercise. Lisa, now in a wheelchair, arrived at the hospital. Her mother bombarded her with questions about Mark's condition, but Lisa's eyes were fixed on Jake. "I'm sorry, Jake," she whispered. "I know I made a mistake, but we can get through this. We can forgive each other." Jake's face was a mask of stone. "Lisa, you betrayed my trust. I don't know if I can ever forgive you." Lisa's eyes filled with tears. "Please, Jake, for Megan's sake, we need to stick together." Jake sighed, his heart heavy with conflicting emotions. "We'll talk about this later. Right now, I need to pick up Megan from the mall." As he left the hospital, Jake's mind raced with thoughts of betrayal, anger, and uncertainty about the future. He had always been a man who valued trust and loyalty above all else. Now, with that trust shattered, he wondered if his life would ever be the same again. Chapter 2. A Shattered Trust. The drive to the mall was a blur for Jake. His mind raced as he tried to process the whirlwind of emotions from the day's events. He had always trusted Lisa implicitly, and her betrayal felt like a dagger to his heart. He struggled to reconcile the woman he loved with the one he had found in a compromising position with another man. When he arrived at the mall, Megan was already waiting outside with Kylie, holding bags from their shopping trip. She waved enthusiastically when she saw him, her face lighting up with a bright smile. For a moment, Jake's heart ached with the thought of how the day's events would impact her. "Hey, Dad!" Megan greeted him cheerfully as she climbed into the Jeep. "We had so much fun today. Look at all the cool stuff we got." "That is great, honey," Jake replied, trying to muster a smile. "You girls have a good time?" "Yeah, it was awesome!" Kylie chimed in from the back seat. "Thanks for taking us, Mr. Matthews." "No problem, Kylie." "Anytime," Jake said, starting the engine. As they drove home, Megan chatted excitedly about her day, completely unaware of the turmoil inside her father. Jake listened, his responses automatic, while his mind wandered back to the confrontation at the yoga studio. He knew he needed to find a way to tell Megan what had happened, but he had no idea how to start that conversation. When they got home, Jake helped Megan carry her bags inside. He could hear Lisa moving around upstairs, likely freshening up after the hospital. The air between them was thick with unspoken words and unresolved tension. "Megan, why don't you go upstairs and get ready for bed? It's been a long day," Jake suggested. "Okay, Dad," Megan said, giving him a quick hug before heading up to her room. Jake took a deep breath and made his way to the kitchen, where he found Lisa sitting at the table, her face pale and drawn. She looked up as he entered, her eyes red and puffy from crying. "Jake, we need to talk," she said softly. Jake nodded, pulling out a chair and sitting across from her. "Yeah, we do." "I'm so sorry, Jake," Lisa began, her voice trembling. "I know I have hurt you, and I hate myself for it. Please believe me, it wasn't what it looked like." "Lisa, I walked in on you with that man," Jake replied, his tone hard. "It wasn't the first time, was it?" Lisa shook her head, tears spilling down her cheeks. No, it wasn't tea. But it never meant anything, Jake. I was stupid and selfish, and I regret it more than I can say. Why, Lisa? Why would you do this to us? Jake's voice broke, the pain evident. I don't know, Lisa admitted, her hands twisting together in her lap. I was unhappy, I guess. I felt like we were drifting apart and I didn't know how to fix it. The yoga studio, it was a distraction, an escape. I know that no excuse, but it's the truth. Jake closed his eyes, trying to control the surge of anger and sorrow that washed over him. Lisa, I loved you. I trusted you. Do you have any idea what this is doing to me? I do, Jake. And I'll do anything to make it right, Lisa said desperately. Please, just give me a chance to prove it to you. Jake shook his head, his resolve hardening. I don't know if I can, Lisa. Trust isn't something you can just rebuild overnight. And I have to think about Megan. She deserves better than this. I know, Lisa whispered, her shoulders shaking with silent sobs. Just please, don't give up on us yet. Jake stood, the weight of the conversation pressing down on him. I need some time to think, Lisa. Right now, I need to focus on Megan and what is best for her. As he left the kitchen, he heard Lisa's quiet sobs behind him. The sound tore at his heart, but he steeled himself. He had to stay strong for Megan's sake. Upstairs, Jake knocked on Megan's door. Hey, kiddo, can I come in? Sure, Dad, Megan called out. Jake entered and found Megan sitting on her bed, her shopping bags scattered around her. She looked up at him with a curious expression. Is everything okay, Dad? Jake took a seat next to her, trying to find the right words. Megan, there's something we need to talk about. It is about your mom and me. Megan's face fell, and she looked at him with wide, worried eyes. What's wrong? Jake took a deep breath, his heart aching for his daughter. Your mom and I were going through some tough times right now. We've had some problems, and we're trying to figure things out. Megan's eyes filled with tears. Are you getting a divorce? I don't know, sweetie, Jake admitted, pulling her into a hug. I hope not. But no matter what happens, we both love you very much. That will never change. Megan clung to him, her tears soaking his shirt. I don't want you to split up, Dad. I love you both. I know, Megan, I know, Jake whispered, holding her tightly. We're going to do everything we can to make things right, I promise. As he held his daughter, Jake felt a steely determination settle in his heart. No matter what happened with Lisa, he would always be there for Megan. She was his world, and he would do whatever it took to protect her and keep her safe. Chapter 3. Fractured Lives. The next few days passed in a blur for Jake. The weight of Lisa's betrayal hung over him like a dark cloud, casting a shadow on everything he did. He threw himself into his work, hoping to find some solace in the routine and distraction. However, every moment he was occupied, his mind drifted back to the image of Lisa and the yoga instructor. Megan, perceptive and sensitive, noticed the tension between her parents. Despite Jake's attempts to shield her from the worst of it, she could sense that something was deeply wrong. She became quieter, spending more time in her room and less time engaging with her friends. Jake hated seeing the impact this was having on her. One evening, after Megan had gone to bed, Jake sat in the living room, staring blankly at the television. Lisa entered the room, looking hesitant. She had been giving him space, respecting his need for time to process everything. Jake, can we talk? She asked softly. Jake turned off the TV and nodded. Sure. Lisa took a seat across from him, wringing her hands nervously. I've been thinking a lot about what you said, about trust and how it's not something you can just rebuild overnight. I know it's going to take time, and I'm willing to do whatever it takes. Jake sighed, running a hand through his hair. Lisa, it's not just about time, it's about whether I can ever truly trust you again. I don't know if I can. I understand, Lisa said, her voice trembling, but I want to try. For Megan's sake, if nothing else. Jake looked at her, his expression unreadable. I've been thinking about Megan a lot, too. This isn't just about us. It is about her future, her stability. I don't want her to grow up in a house filled with resentment and anger. Neither do I, Lisa agreed. That's why I think we should see a counselor. Maybe they can help us navigate this, figure out what's best for all of us. Jake considered her suggestion. He wasn't sure if counseling could fix what was broken, but he owed it to Megan to try. "Okay, we can give it a shot, but I am not making any promises. That is all I am asking for," Lisa said, relief evident in her voice. "Thank you, Jake." The next day, Jake made an appointment with a local counselor. He felt a mixture of apprehension and hope. Part of him wanted to salvage what they had, but another part doubted whether it was even possible. As he headed to work, his thoughts were interrupted by a call from Tom, a coworker who had gone through a messy divorce a few years earlier. "Hey, Jake, heard you've been going through a rough patch," Tom said sympathetically. "Yeah, you could say that," Jake replied. "If you ever need to talk, I am here." "I know how tough it can be," Tom offered. "Thanks, Tom." "I appreciate that," Jake said. "Actually, I have been thinking about something. Remember when you mentioned that support group you joined after your divorce? Do you think it might help if I joined?" "Absolutely," Tom said enthusiastically. "It's been a lifesaver for me. We meet once a week, and it is a great group of guys who've been through similar experiences. You should definitely come by." "All right, I'll give it a try," Jake agreed. "When is the next meeting?" "Tomorrow evening at 7. I'll text you the address," Tom said. The following evening, Jake arrived at the community center where the support group met. He felt a bit nervous, unsure of what to expect. As he entered the room, he was greeted by a group of men, all of whom welcomed him warmly. They introduced themselves, sharing brief snippets of their own stories of betrayal and heartbreak. Tom, acting as the informal leader of the group, began the meeting. "Guys, this is Jake. He's going through a tough time right now, and I thought our group could be a good support for him." "Welcome, Jake," said Sam, a tall man with a kind smile. "We've all been where you are. It's not easy, but you'll get through it." Jake nodded, appreciating the sense of camaraderie. As the meeting progressed, he listened to the others share their experiences. Some spoke of the initial shock and pain, while others talked about the long road to healing and rebuilding their lives. The stories were raw and honest, and for the first time in days, Jake felt a glimmer of hope. When it was his turn, Jake took a deep breath and began to share his story. He spoke of his love for Lisa, their life together, and the devastating discovery of her infidelity. The group listened without judgment, offering support and understanding. "It's going to be a long journey, Jake," said Dan, a burly man who had been through 2 divorces. "But you've got us now. We are here for you every step of the way." After the meeting, Tom pulled Jake aside. "There's something else I wanted to talk to you about. A few of us are starting a new club, sort of like this support group but with more activities. We are calling it the Broken Hearts Club. We thought it could be a way to help us all heal while having some fun and supporting each other." "That sounds interesting," Jake said, intrigued. "What kind of activities are you planning?" "Everything from car shows and motorcycle rides to camping trips and barbecues," Tom explained. "It's about building a brotherhood and finding joy in life again." Jake smiled for the first time in days. "Count me in." As Jake drove home that night, he felt a sense of purpose beginning to form. He still had a long way to go, but with the support of the Broken Hearts Club and a renewed determination to be there for Megan, he felt ready to face whatever challenges lay ahead. The next morning, Jake and Lisa took Megan to the park. They tried to keep things as normal as possible for her, enjoying a picnic and playing games. Megan seemed to sense the effort, and for a little while they felt like a family again. As the sun began to set, Jake's phone buzzed with a text from Tom, reminding him about the first official meeting of the Broken Hearts Club. It would be held at Tom's house, complete with a barbecue and an informal planning session. That evening, Jake attended the first meeting of the Broken Hearts Club. He was greeted by familiar faces from the support group and a few new ones. They shared food, stories, and laughter, forming the beginnings of a strong bond. The group discussed their plans for future events and how they could support each other in their individual journeys. Jake felt a renewed sense of hope and belonging. For the first time since discovering Lisa's betrayal, he felt like he was moving forward, taking steps to rebuild his life. As the meeting came to a close, Jake stood up to address the group. "I just want to thank all of you. I know we are all here because we've been hurt, but I believe we can help each other heal and find happiness again. I'm looking forward to this journey with all of you." The men cheered, raising their glasses in a toast to new beginnings. Jake felt a surge of emotion, a mix of gratitude and determination. He knew the road ahead wouldn't be easy, but with the support of his new friends and the love he had for Megan, he felt ready to face whatever came next. Chapter 4: The Broken Hearts Club. Jake pulled into the driveway of Tom S. house, the designated meeting spot for the Broken Hearts Club. He parked his Jeep among an impressive array of cars and motorcycles, a testament to the varied interests of the group. The scent of grilled meat wafted through the air, mingling with the sounds of laughter and conversation. Tom greeted Jake with a hearty handshake. "Glad you could make it, Jake. How's everything holding up?" Jake smiled, feeling a warmth of camaraderie. "Getting there, one day at a time. Thanks for inviting me. Anytime, man." "Come on, let's get you a drink," Tom said, leading him to the backyard where a large barbecue grill sizzled with steaks and burgers. The backyard was bustling with activity. Dan was manning the grill, his burly frame dwarfing the spatula in his hand. Sam and a few others were setting up tables while a couple of guys were deep in conversation by the bar. "Jake, over here!" called Sam, waving him over. "Meet Mike and Dave. They are new to the club, too." Mike, a tall man with a rugged look, shook Jake's hand firmly. "Good to meet you, Jake." "Likewise," Jake replied, turning to Dave, a stocky guy with a kind smile. "Hey, Dave." "Hey, Jake." "Heard a lot about you," Dave said, nodding. "Glad to be here with you all." As the evening progressed, the group settled into a comfortable rhythm. They shared stories, laughed at old jokes, and discussed plans for future events. The atmosphere was one of support and understanding, a safe space where they could all be themselves. Tom clinked a glass to get everyone's attention. "All right, guys, listen up. We've got some new members tonight, so let us give them a warm welcome. And now, let us talk about our first official event as the Broken Hearts Club." A cheer went up and Tom continued. "We are planning a camping trip up in the mountains next weekend. It'll be a great opportunity to bond, relax, and have some fun. Who's in?" Hands shot up around the yard, including Jake S. He hadn't been camping in years, but the idea of getting away from everything sounded perfect. "Great! We'll finalize the details and send out an email with all the info," Tom said. "Now let's eat." As they dug into the delicious barbecue, Jake found himself seated next to Mike. They chatted about cars, a shared passion, and Mike mentioned he was restoring an old Chevy truck. "I'd love to see it sometime," Jake said, genuinely interested. "Maybe I could give you a hand." "Absolutely," Mike agreed. "I could use the help. And if you ever need a hand with your Mustang, let me know." "Will do," Jake replied with a smile. The conversation shifted to more personal matters. Mike shared his story of heartbreak, how his wife had left him for a coworker, and how he struggled to move on. "It was rough," Mike admitted, taking a swig of his beer. "But being here with you guys, it makes a difference. It's good to know I am not alone." Jake nodded, understanding completely. "Yeah, it has been a lifeline for me too. We're all in this together." As the night wore on, the group moved to the fire pit, where they roasted marshmallows and continued their conversations. Jake felt a sense of belonging that he hadn't felt in a long time. The Broken Hearts Club was more than just a support group. It was a brotherhood. The next morning, Jake woke up with a sense of purpose. He had promised Megan they would spend the day together, and he was determined to make it special. They went for a hike in the nearby woods, enjoying the fresh air and the beauty of nature. Megan's laughter was like music to Jake's ears, and for a little while he forgot about the pain and betrayal. In the afternoon, they returned home to find Lisa waiting for them. She looked anxious, but hopeful. "Hey, how was your hike?" she asked, trying to keep her tone light. "It was great, Mom," Megan said, running to give her a hug. "Dad and I saw a deer. That is wonderful," Lisa said, smiling at Megan before turning to Jake. "Can we talk for a minute?" Jake nodded, giving Megan a reassuring smile before following Lisa into the living room. "I wanted to thank you for agreeing to the counseling," Lisa began. "I know it's not going to be easy, but I believe it is the right step for us." Jake took a deep breath. "I hope so, Lisa. For Megan's sake, I hope we can find a way to make this work. We will, Lisa said firmly. I've already made an appointment for us next week. Good, Jake replied. In the meantime, I'm going on a camping trip with some friends next weekend. I think it'll be good for me to get away for a bit. Lisa looked surprised but nodded. Of course. You deserve some time for yourself. Jake appreciated her understanding, though he still felt a lingering distrust. Thanks, Lisa. The week passed quickly, filled with work, counseling sessions, and preparations for the camping trip. Jake felt a mixture of nervousness and excitement as the weekend approached. He packed his gear, double-checked his supplies, and kissed Megan goodbye. Have fun, Dad, Megan said, hugging him tightly. And bring me back a souvenir. You got it, kiddo, Jake promised with a smile. The drive to the campsite was scenic and peaceful, the perfect prelude to the weekend ahead. When he arrived, he found Tom and the others already setting up tents and organizing their gear. Hey, Jake, glad you could make it, Tom called out, waving him over. Wouldn't have miss it, Jake replied, joining the group. They spent the day hiking, fishing, and exploring the beautiful surroundings. In the evening, they gathered around the campfire, sharing stories and enjoying the tranquility of nature. As the fire crackled and the stars filled the sky, Jake felt a sense of peace he hadn't experienced in a long time. The camaraderie and support of the Broken Hearts Club were helping him heal, one step at a time. The next morning, they woke to the sound of birds chirping and the smell of fresh coffee. Jake stretched, feeling the aches and pains of a night spent in a sleeping bag, but also a renewed sense of energy. After breakfast, they decided to go on a group hike to a nearby waterfall. The trail was challenging, but rewarding, and when they reached the waterfall, the sight was breathtaking. They spent hours swimming, taking pictures, and enjoying the natural beauty. On the way back to the campsite, Jake walked alongside Mike. This has been great, Jake said. I needed this. Me too, Mike agreed. It's amazing how much being out here with good friends can help. That evening, they held an informal meeting around the campfire. Tom started by thanking everyone for coming and sharing his vision for the club. I see the Broken Hearts Club as more than just a support group, Tom said. It's a place where we can heal, grow, and find joy in life again. We are here for each other, through the good times and the bad. The men nodded in agreement, their faces lit by the flickering firelight. They took turns sharing their hopes and goals for the future, and Jake felt a sense of optimism growing within him. As the night wore on, the conversation turned to lighter topics. They joked and laughed, enjoying the simple pleasure of each other's company. Jake felt a bond forming with these men, a brotherhood that he knew would be a crucial part of his healing journey. When it was time to head back home, Jake felt a pang of sadness at leaving the peaceful sanctuary of the mountains. But he also felt a renewed sense of strength and determination. He had a long road ahead, but he knew he wasn't walking it alone. Back in Oak Ridge, Jake resumed his daily routine with a new perspective. The support from the Broken Hearts Club and the counseling sessions with Lisa gave him hope that they could find a way to move forward. It wouldn't be easy, but for Megan's sake, he was willing to try. Chapter 5. Secrets and Lies. The counseling sessions with Lisa were a roller coaster of emotions. They talked about their past, their present, and their hopes for the future. The counselor, Dr. Matthews, guided them through difficult conversations, encouraging them to be honest and open with each other. Despite the painful subjects they discussed, Jake found some comfort in the process. It was a step towards healing, even if it was a small one. One evening, after an especially intense session, Lisa suggested they go out for dinner. Just the two of us, she said. I think we need some time to remember the good things. Jake hesitated, but then agreed. All right, let us try. They chose a small, cozy restaurant they used to frequent before everything fell apart. The ambiance was warm, and the familiar setting brought back memories of happier times. As they waited for their food, Lisa reached across the table and took Jake's hand. Jake, I know I've hurt you deeply, she said, her voice trembling. I'm so sorry for everything. I want to make things right. Jake looked at her, searching for sincerity in her eyes. I believe you, Lisa, but it's going to take time. I need to know that you are committed to this, to us. I am, Lisa said firmly. I want to be a better person, for you, for Megan, for our family. Their food arrived and they ate in a comfortable silence. For a moment, it felt like old times, but Jake knew they still had a long way to go. As they were finishing their meal, Lisa's phone buzzed. She glanced at it and her face paled. "It's from the yoga studio," she said, looking worried. Jake's heart skipped a beat. "What does it say?" Lisa showed him the message. It was from a former student, warning her that the yoga instructor, who had been disgraced and fired after Jake's confrontation, was planning to sue for defamation and loss of income. "This is bad," Lisa said, her voice shaking. "He's trying to ruin us." Jake felt a surge of anger. "Let him try. We'll fight this." The next few days were a whirlwind of legal consultations and preparations. Jake and Lisa hired a lawyer to handle the lawsuit. The process was stressful, but it also brought them closer together as they worked towards a common goal. During this time, Jake continued to find solace in the Broken Hearts Club. The camaraderie and support from the group were invaluable. He shared his struggles with the lawsuit and received advice and encouragement from the other members. One evening at a club meeting, Jake confided in Tom and Mike about the lawsuit. "It's just one thing after another," he said, feeling overwhelmed. "I don't know how much more I can take." "Hang in there, Jake," Tom said, clapping him on the back. "We've got your back. We're here for you," Mike added. "Whatever you need." Jake nodded, grateful for their support. "Thanks, guys, it means a lot." As the lawsuit progressed, Jake and Lisa discovered more about the yoga instructor's past. He had a history of manipulating and exploiting his students, and they decided to gather testimonies from other victims to strengthen their case. One evening, while Jake was sifting through the collected testimonies, he found a particularly disturbing account. A former student claimed that the yoga instructor had coerced her into a relationship, promising spiritual enlightenment and emotional healing. She described feeling trapped and manipulated much like Lisa had. Jake shared the testimony with Lisa, who was visibly shaken. "I can't believe I fell for his lies," she said, tears streaming down her face. "I feel so stupid." "Lisa, you're not stupid," Jake said gently. "You were vulnerable and he took advantage of that. This isn't your fault." Lisa nodded, but the guilt and shame were evident in her eyes. "I just want to put this all behind us and move forward." "We will," Jake assured her. "We're going to win this case and make sure he can't hurt anyone else." The court date arrived, and Jake and Lisa stood side by side, ready to face the yoga instructor and his lawyers. The courtroom was tense as both sides presented their arguments. The testimonies from other victims were powerful, painting a clear picture of the instructor's predatory behavior. When it was Jake's turn to testify, he spoke passionately about the impact the instructor's actions had on his family. He described the pain and betrayal, the struggle to rebuild trust, and the determination to protect others from suffering the same fate. The judge listened carefully to all the testimonies and evidence. After a long deliberation, he ruled in favor of Jake and Lisa, dismissing the instructor's lawsuit and ordering him to pay damages for emotional distress. As they left the courtroom, Jake felt a weight lift off his shoulders. "We did it," he said, turning to Lisa. "Yes, we did," Lisa agreed, a hint of a smile on her lips. "Thank you, Jake, for everything." Jake nodded, feeling a renewed sense of hope. They still had a long way to go, but this victory was a significant step forward. That evening, Jake attended a Broken Hearts Club meeting, eager to share the good news. The group erupted in cheers and congratulations when he told them about the court victory. "You're an inspiration, Jake," Tom said, raising his glass, to Jake and Lisa for their strength and resilience. "To Jake and Lisa!" the group echoed, clinking their glasses together. Jake felt a surge of emotion, grateful for the support and friendship of the Broken Hearts Club. They had helped him through one of the darkest times in his life, and now they were celebrating his victory with him. As the night wore on, Jake found himself talking to Mike about the future. "I feel like we are finally turning a corner," he said. "There's still a lot of work to do, but I am hopeful." "That's great to hear, Jake," Mike said, smiling. "And remember, we're here for you, no matter what." Jake nodded, feeling a deep sense of gratitude. Thanks, Mike. I couldn't have done this without you guys. The next few weeks were a time of healing and rebuilding. Jake and Lisa continued their counseling sessions, slowly but surely rebuilding their trust. They spent more quality time with Megan, creating new memories and strengthening their family bond. One afternoon, while they were at the park, Megan looked up at Jake and Lisa, her eyes bright with hope. Are things getting better, Mom? Dad? Jake and Lisa exchanged a look, and Lisa nodded. Yes, sweetheart, things are getting better. Megan smiled, her face lighting up with happiness. I am so glad. I love you both so much. We love you too, Megan, Jake said, pulling her into a hug. We're going to be okay. As they stood there, wrapped in each other's arms, Jake felt a sense of peace and contentment. The road ahead was still uncertain, but with the support of his family and friends, he knew they could face whatever challenges came their way. Chapter 6. Suspense and Threats. The sun was setting as Jake pulled into his driveway after another long day at work. The warm glow of the evening sun cast a peaceful light over his home, but inside, he felt anything but peaceful. The stress of the lawsuit and the ongoing tension with Lisa had taken its toll. However, there was a glimmer of hope. With the support of the Broken Hearts Club and the progress they were making in counseling, Jake felt a cautious optimism. As he entered the house, he was greeted by the familiar sounds of Megan laughing and Lisa humming softly in the kitchen. It was a welcome change from the recent tension-filled atmosphere. Jake took a moment to savor the normalcy before heading into the kitchen. Hey, how's my favorite family? Jake said, trying to inject some cheer into his voice. Megan ran up to him and hugged him tightly. Dad, we were just talking about you. Mom made your favorite dinner. Jake's heart warmed at the sight of his daughter's bright smile. That is great, Meg. What did you make, Lisa? Spaghetti and meatballs, Lisa replied, looking up with a hopeful smile. I thought it would be nice to have a family dinner. Jake nodded, appreciating the effort Lisa was making. Sounds perfect. They sat down to eat, and for the first time in a while, the conversation flowed easily. They talked about Megan's day at school, Jake's work, and their plans for the weekend. It felt like a step towards healing, a small but significant victory. After dinner, Megan went to her room to work on a school project, leaving Jake and Lisa alone in the living room. Lisa looked at Jake, her expression serious. Jake, there's something I need to tell you. Jake's heart sank. What is it? I've been getting these strange messages, Lisa said, handing him her phone. I think it's him, the yoga instructor. Jake's jaw clenched as he read the messages. They were vague but threatening, hinting at revenge and making cryptic references to their past. This guy just wanted to quit, will he? No, Lisa said, her voice trembling. I'm scared, Jake. What if he tries to do something? Jake put a reassuring hand on her shoulder. We'll handle this, Lisa. We're not going to let him intimidate us. The next day, Jake contacted their lawyer and the police, providing them with the messages Lisa had received. The authorities took the threats seriously and promised to investigate. Jake also informed Tom and the rest of the Broken Hearts Club, knowing he could count on their support. At the next club meeting, the atmosphere was tense as Jake shared the latest developments. We need to be vigilant, Tom said. This guy is clearly unstable. Mike nodded in agreement. We should keep an eye on each other. Make sure no one is left alone. Safety in numbers. The group agreed, and they discussed various strategies to stay safe and protect their families. Despite the seriousness of the situation, there was a sense of solidarity and strength among them. A few days later, Jake was at the grocery store when he noticed a familiar face in the crowd. It was the yoga instructor, lurking near the entrance, watching him intently. Jake's heart pounded with anger and fear. He decided to confront the man, determined to put an end to this harassment. Hey! Jake called out, striding towards him. What do you think you are doing? The yoga instructor turned, a smirk on his face. Just doing some shopping, Jake. Nothing illegal about that. Jake stood his ground, his fists clenched. You stay away from my family, do you hear me? Or what? The instructor taunted. You think you can scare me? Jake took a deep breath, trying to keep his temper in check. I am not trying to scare you. I am warning you. If you come near my family again, I will make sure you regret it. The instructor's smirk faltered, but he quickly regained his composure. We'll see about that, Jake. We'll see. Jake watched as the man walked away, feeling a mix of frustration and determination. He knew this wasn't over, but he also knew he had the support of his friends and the authorities. They would get through this one way or another. That evening, Jake shared the encounter with Lisa. He's trying to intimidate us, but we won to let him, he said firmly. Lisa nodded, her eyes filled with resolve. We won T. We re-stronger than he thinks. The following weekend, the Broken Hearts Club organized a community event at a local park. It was a family-friendly gathering with games, food, and activities for kids. The idea was to create a sense of normalcy and unity, despite the ongoing threats. Jake and Lisa brought Megan, who was excited about the event. As they arrived, they were greeted by Tom and the others. Glad you could make it, Tom said, clapping Jake on the back. We wouldn't have missed it, Jake replied, smiling. The day was filled with laughter and fun. Megan played with the other kids, while Jake and Lisa mingled with the other families. It was a welcome distraction from the stress and fear that had been consuming them. As the sun began to set, the group gathered around a bonfire. Jake looked around at the smiling faces, feeling a deep sense of gratitude. Despite the challenges they faced, they were surrounded by friends who cared and supported them. Tom raised a glass, his voice loud and clear. To friendship, to family, and to standing strong together. To friendship and family, everyone echoed, clinking their glasses. Jake put his arm around Lisa, pulling her close. We're going to be okay, he said softly. Lisa leaned into him, her eyes shining with hope. Yes, we are. That night, as they lay in bed, Jake felt a sense of peace. The threats were still there, and the challenges were far from over, but they had each other, and with the support of their friends and family, they could face anything. In the days that followed, the police made progress in their investigation. They found evidence linking the yoga instructor to the threatening messages and obtained a restraining order against him. The legal battle was far from over, but it was a significant step towards protecting Jake's family. Jake continued to find strength in the Broken Hearts Club. They met regularly, offering support and sharing their experiences. The bond between the members grew stronger with each passing day. One evening, after a particularly uplifting meeting, Jake found himself talking to Anna, a new member who had recently joined the club. She had a warm, friendly demeanor and a genuine smile that put Jake at ease. I've heard a lot about you, Anna said, smiling. You're quite the inspiration around here. Jake chuckled, feeling a bit embarrassed. I'm just trying to get through it like everyone else. You are doing more than that, Anna replied. You're showing us all that it's possible to rebuild, to find hope again. Jake looked at her, feeling a connection he hadn't felt in a long time. Thank you, Anna. That means a lot. As they continued talking, Jake realized how much he enjoyed her company. She was easy to talk to, and her positive outlook was refreshing. They exchanged numbers, promising to keep in touch. Over the next few weeks, Jake and Anna's friendship grew. They texted and called each other, sharing stories and offering support. Jake found himself looking forward to their conversations, feeling a spark of something new and hopeful. Lisa noticed the change in Jake and confronted him one evening. You seem different lately, she said, her tone neutral. Jake hesitated, unsure of how to respond. Ivy made a new friend, he admitted. Her name is Anna. She's part of the Broken Hearts Club. Lisa looked at him, her expression unreadable. Do you have feelings for her? Jake took a deep breath, choosing his words carefully. I don't know, Lisa. She's a good friend and I enjoy talking to her, but my focus is on us, on our family. Lisa nodded, her eyes filled with a mixture of emotions. I understand, Jake. I just want you to be happy. I want that too, Jake said softly. For both of us. As they navigated their complex emotions and the ongoing threats, Jake felt a renewed sense of determination. They had come a long way, and there was still a long road ahead. But with the support of their friends, the Broken Hearts Club, and each other, they were ready to face whatever challenges came their way. Chapter 7. Paths to Redemption. The days grew longer as summer approached, bringing with it a sense of renewal and hope. Jake found himself increasingly drawn to the outdoors, using the time to clear his mind and reflect on the journey he and Lisa had been through. One Saturday morning, he decided to go for a run in the park, a habit he had let slip in recent months. The park was bustling with activity, families enjoying picnics, children playing, and couples walking hand in hand. Jake set a steady pace, feeling the tension in his muscles ease with each step. As he rounded a bend, he spotted Anna sitting on a bench, reading a book. She looked up and smiled when she saw him. "Hey Jake, fancy seeing you here," Anna called out, waving. Jake slowed to a stop, catching his breath. "Hey Anna, what are you doing here?" "Just enjoying the nice weather," she replied, closing her book. "How's the run going?" "Pretty good," Jake said, wiping the sweat from his brow. "It has been a while since I did this. Mind if I join you?" Anna asked, standing up. "Not at all," Jake said with a smile. "Let's go." They ran together, matching each other's pace. The conversation flowed easily from lighthearted banter to more serious topics. Jake found himself opening up to Anna in a way that felt natural and unforced. They finished their run with a sense of accomplishment, and Jake felt a renewed sense of energy. "Thanks for the company, Anna," Jake said as they cooled down. "It's nice to have someone to talk to." "Anytime, Jake," Anna replied, smiling warmly. "I'm glad we ran into each other." As they parted ways, Jake felt a pang of guilt. He enjoyed spending time with Anna, but he was still committed to making things work with Lisa. He knew he needed to talk to Lisa about his feelings and be honest with her. That evening, after Megan had gone to bed, Jake sat down with Lisa in the living room. The tension in the air was palpable, but he knew this conversation was necessary. "Lisa, we need to talk," Jake began, his voice steady. Lisa looked at him, her eyes filled with concern. "What is it, Jake?" "I've been spending time with Anna," Jake admitted. "We ran into each other at the park today and we went for a run together. I enjoy her company, but I want you to know that my focus is still on us, on our family." Lisa took a deep breath, her expression thoughtful. "Jake, I appreciate your honesty. I've noticed that you've been happier lately, and if Anna is a part of that, then I can be upset. I just want you to be happy." Jake felt a weight lift off his shoulders. "Thank you, Lisa. I want us to be happy too. I am committed to working on our relationship, but I also need to be honest about my feelings." "I understand," Lisa said softly. "We've been through so much, and it's only natural to have complicated emotions. I am willing to work through this with you, Jake." Jake reached out and took her hand, squeezing it gently. "We'll get through this, Lisa. Together." In the days that followed, Jake and Lisa continued their counseling sessions, delving deeper into their issues and finding new ways to connect. They spent more quality time together as a family, creating new traditions and memories. Megan thrived in the positive atmosphere, her laughter filling the house with joy. One afternoon, while Jake was working on his Mustang in the garage, Megan came running in, her eyes wide with excitement. "Dad, guess what? Mom and I are going to start a garden in the backyard." Jake looked up, smiling at her enthusiasm. "That sounds amazing, Meg. What are you going to plant?" "Lots of flowers and some vegetables," Megan said, bouncing on her toes. "Can you help us?" "Of course I'd love to," Jake replied, feeling a warmth in his heart. "Let's make it the best garden ever." The next weekend, the whole family worked together to prepare the garden. They cleared the weeds, tilled the soil, and planted seeds. It was hard work, but it brought them closer together. As the days passed, they watched with pride as their garden began to grow, a symbol of their own journey of growth and healing. Meanwhile, the Broken Hearts Club continued to be a source of support and camaraderie. They organized more events, from car shows to fishing trips, each gathering strengthening their bond. Jake found solace in the friendships he had formed, knowing he wasn't alone in his struggles. One evening, after a particularly successful club event, Tom pulled Jake aside. "You're doing great, Jake. It's amazing to see how far you've come." "Thanks, Tom," Jake said, feeling a sense of pride. "I couldn't have done it without all of you." "We are all in this together," Tom replied. "And remember, if you ever need anything, We are here for you. Jake nodded, feeling a deep sense of gratitude. I know, and I appreciate it more than I can say. As the summer progressed, Jake continued to balance his time between his family, his new friendship with Anna, and the Broken Hearts Club. He found that each aspect of his life brought him a different kind of fulfillment, helping him to heal and grow. One evening, Jake received a call from Anna. Hey, Jake. I was wondering if you'd like to join me for dinner tomorrow night. Just as friends, of course. Jake hesitated, knowing he needed to be careful. Sure, Anna. That sounds nice. They met at a small, charming restaurant downtown. The conversation was easy and enjoyable, and Jake found himself laughing more than he had in a long time. As they finished their meal, Anna looked at him, her expression serious. Jake, I need to be honest with you, Anna said softly. I really like you, and I know you are committed to your family. I don't want to complicate things, but I value our friendship and I want you to know how I feel. Jake felt a surge of conflicting emotions. Anna, I appreciate your honesty. I like you too, but my priority right now is my family. I don't want to lose our friendship, but I need to focus on making things right with Lisa and Megan. Anna nodded, her eyes filled with understanding. I respect that, Jake. I'll always be here for you, no matter what. Thank you, Anna, Jake said, feeling a sense of relief. Your friendship means a lot to me. As they parted ways, Jake felt a renewed sense of clarity. He knew that his path was with his family, and he was determined to continue working towards their happiness. The support of his friends, both old and new, gave him the strength he needed to face whatever challenges lay ahead. In the weeks that followed, Jake and Lisa continued to make progress. They celebrated their victories, no matter how small, and supported each other through the tough times. Their relationship wasn't perfect, but it was growing stronger every day. One evening, as they sat in the garden they had created together, Lisa looked at Jake, her eyes filled with love. We've come a long way, haven't we? Jake nodded, taking her hand in his. Yes, we have. And I'm grateful for every step of this journey with you. Lisa smiled, leaning in to kiss him. I love you, Jake. I love you too, Lisa, Jake replied, feeling a deep sense of peace. As they sat there, surrounded by the beauty of their garden and the warmth of their love, Jake knew that they could face anything together. The road ahead would have its challenges, but with their commitment to each other and the support of their friends, they were ready for whatever came their way. Chapter 8. New Beginnings. The crisp autumn air brought a sense of renewal to Oak Ridge. The leaves had turned vibrant shades of red, orange, and yellow, creating a picturesque backdrop for the town. Jake felt a renewed sense of purpose as he went about his daily routine. The counseling sessions with Lisa were proving fruitful, and their relationship was slowly but surely mending. Megan was thriving, her laughter filling the house with warmth and joy. One Saturday morning, Jake decided to take his Mustang for a drive. The car, freshly polished and gleaming in the sunlight, roared to life with a satisfying growl. As he drove through the winding country roads, he felt a sense of freedom and exhilaration. The journey had been tough, but he was finally beginning to see the light at the end of the tunnel. After an hour of driving, Jake pulled into a small cafe by the lakeside. The place was a favorite spot for locals, known for its cozy atmosphere and delicious pastries. As he sipped his coffee, he noticed Anna sitting at a corner table, engrossed in a book. She looked up and smiled when she saw him. Jake, what a pleasant surprise, Anna said, waving him over. Jake smiled and walked over to her table. Hey, Anna, mind if I join you? Not at all, Anna replied, closing her book. How have you been? Pretty good, actually, Jake said, taking a seat. Things are looking up. How about you? Same here, Anna said with a warm smile. I've been keeping busy with work and enjoying the fall weather. They chatted for a while, catching up on each other's lives. Jake found himself relaxing in her company, enjoying the easy conversation and her positive energy. As they finished their coffee, Anna looked at him thoughtfully. Jake, there's something I have been thinking about, she said. How about we plan a community event together, something fun and uplifting for everyone in Oak Ridge? Jake's eyes lit up with interest. That sounds like a great idea. What did you have in mind? I was thinking of a fall festival, Anna suggested. We could have games, food stalls, a bonfire, and maybe even a small concert. It would be a great way to bring the community together. I love it, Jake said enthusiastically. Let us do it. They spent the next few days planning the event, enlisting the help of the Broken Hearts Club and other community members. The excitement and anticipation built as the festival day approached. Jake felt a sense of pride and accomplishment, knowing they were creating something special for the town. The day of the festival dawned bright and clear. The town square was transformed with colorful decorations, stalls filled with delicious treats, and a stage set up for the concert. Families, friends, and neighbors gathered, their faces lit with smiles and laughter. Jake and Anna walked through the bustling crowd, making sure everything was running smoothly. This turned out even better than I imagined, Jake said, looking around with satisfaction. It really did, Anna agreed. I'm so glad we did this. As the sun set, the festival lights twinkled, casting a magical glow over the square. The concert began, filling the air with music and creating a joyous atmosphere. Jake spotted Lisa and Megan in the crowd, their faces glowing with happiness. He walked over to them, feeling a deep sense of contentment. Hey, you two, Jake said, wrapping his arms around them. Having a good time? Dad, this is amazing, Megan exclaimed. I'm so glad we came. It's wonderful, Jake, Lisa added, her eyes shining with pride. You did a great job. Thanks, Jake said, his heart swelling with gratitude. I couldn't have done it without Anna's help. Lisa smiled, her expression warm and understanding. You both did a fantastic job. The town really needed this. As the evening progressed, Jake found himself reflecting on the journey that had brought him to this moment. The pain, the struggles, the triumphs, it had all led to this point of renewal and hope. He felt a deep sense of gratitude for the support of his friends, the Broken Hearts Club, and his family. Later that night, after the festival had ended and the town square was quiet once more, Jake and Lisa sat on their porch, sipping hot cocoa and enjoying the cool autumn breeze. The air was filled with the scent of fallen leaves and the distant sound of crickets. Tonight was perfect, Lisa said softly, leaning against Jake. Thank you for making it happen. It wasn't just me, Jake replied, wrapping his arm around her. We all came together to make it special. It's a reminder of how much we can achieve when we work together. Lisa nodded, her eyes filled with love. I'm so proud of you, Jake. You've come so far, and I'm grateful every day for the second chance we've been given. Me too, Lisa, Jake said, his voice filled with emotion. I love you. I love you too, Lisa whispered, leaning in to kiss him. As they sat there, wrapped in each other's embrace, Jake felt a profound sense of peace. The road ahead would still have its challenges, but with their renewed commitment to each other and the support of their community, he knew they could face anything. The next morning, Jake woke up early, feeling invigorated. He decided to take Megan for a walk in the woods, a favorite activity they had enjoyed since she was a little girl. As they walked along the winding trails, Megan chatted excitedly about the festival and her plans for the school year. Dad, do you think we could have a garden at school too? Megan asked, her eyes bright with enthusiasm. We could grow flowers and vegetables, just like we did at home. I think that is a great idea, Meg, Jake said, smiling at her. I'll talk to your principal and see if we can make it happen. Thanks, Dad, Megan said, hugging him tightly. You are the best. As they continued their walk, Jake felt a deep sense of fulfillment. The journey had been long and arduous, but it had led to a place of healing and growth. He knew there would be more challenges ahead, but he also knew they had the strength and support to overcome them. That evening, Jake received a call from Tom. Hey, Jake, I just wanted to say thanks for organizing the festival. It was a huge success. Thanks, Tom, Jake replied. I'm glad everyone enjoyed it. We are thinking of making it an annual event, Tom said. What do you think? I think that's a fantastic idea, Jake said, feeling a sense of excitement. Count me in. As he hung up the phone, Jake felt a renewed sense of purpose. The festival had been a symbol of their collective strength and resilience, and he was proud to be a part of it. The future was bright. and he was ready to embrace it with open arms. Over the next few weeks, Jake and Lisa continued to nurture their relationship, finding new ways to connect and support each other. They spent more time together as a family, creating new traditions and memories. The garden in their backyard flourished, a testament to their hard work and dedication. One afternoon, as Jake was working in the garden, he heard the sound of footsteps approaching. He looked up to see Anna standing at the gate, a smile on her face. "Hey, Jake, mind if I join you?" Anna asked. "Not at all," Jake said, waving her in. "I could use the help." They worked side by side, planting new flowers and tending to the vegetables. The conversation flowed easily, filled with laughter and shared stories. Jake felt a deep sense of contentment, grateful for the friendship and support Anna had brought into his life. As the sun began to set, they sat back, admiring their handiwork. The garden was a riot of color, filled with blooming flowers and thriving plants. "This is beautiful, Jake," Anna said, her voice filled with admiration. "You have created something truly special here." "Thanks, Anna," Jake said, feeling a sense of pride. "It's been a labor of love." Anna looked at him, her expression serious. "Jake, I want you to know that no matter what happens, I'm here for you, as a friend, as a support. You've done so much for this community, and I am proud to call you my friend." Jake felt a surge of emotion. "Thank you, Anna. Your friendship means the world to me." As they sat there, surrounded by the beauty of the garden and the warmth of their friendship, Jake felt a sense of peace and fulfillment. The journey had been challenging, but it had led to a place of healing and hope. The future was bright, and he was ready to face it with the support of his friends, his family, and his community. Chapter 9. Cliffhangers and Resolutions. The crisp winter air was invigorating as Jake walked through Oak Ridge, the town covered in a blanket of snow. It was the holiday season, and festive decorations adorned the streets and homes. Jake felt a sense of joy and anticipation, ready to embrace the celebrations with his family and friends. As he approached his house, he saw Megan building a snowman in the front yard, her cheeks rosy from the cold. Lisa was helping her, their laughter echoing through the air. Jake felt a swell of gratitude for the progress they had made as a family. "Hey, Dad!" Megan called out, waving enthusiastically. "Come help us with the snowman." Jake grinned and joined them, rolling up his sleeves. "All right, what do we need?" "A carrot for the nose and some rocks for the eyes," Megan said, her eyes sparkling with excitement. "I'll get the rocks," Jake said, heading to the side of the house where they kept gardening supplies. As they worked together, Jake couldn't help but reflect on how far they had come. The pain and betrayal that had once threatened to tear them apart had been replaced with a renewed sense of love and commitment. Their journey was far from over, but they were stronger for it. That evening, they gathered around the fireplace, sipping hot cocoa and enjoying the warmth of the fire. Megan was curled up with a book, and Jake and Lisa sat together, content in the quiet moments they shared. "Tomorrow is the big day," Lisa said, her voice filled with excitement. "Are you ready for the Christmas Eve party?" Jake nodded, smiling. "I think so. It's going to be a great celebration." They had decided to host a Christmas Eve party for their friends and neighbors, including the members of the Broken Hearts Club. It was a way to bring everyone together and celebrate the season of giving and gratitude. The next day, the house was a flurry of activity as they prepared for the party. Lisa was in the kitchen, baking cookies and preparing a feast, while Jake and Megan decorated the living room with twinkling lights and festive ornaments. As the afternoon turned into evening, guests began to arrive, the house filled with laughter and joy, the air buzzing with the excitement of the holiday season. Tom, Mike, and Anna were among the first to arrive, their faces lit with smiles as they exchanged warm greetings. "Jake, this place looks amazing," Tom said, looking around in awe. "You and Lisa really outdid yourselves." "Thanks, Tom," Jake replied, feeling a sense of pride. "We wanted to make it special for everyone." As the night went on, they played games, exchanged gifts, and shared stories. The atmosphere was one of camaraderie and joy, a testament to the strength and resilience of their community. At one point, Jake found himself alone on the back porch, looking out at the snow-covered landscape. The night was peaceful, the stars twinkling brightly in the clear sky. He took a deep breath, feeling a sense of contentment and hope. Anna joined him, her breath visible in the cold air. "It's beautiful out here, isn't it?" "Yeah, it is," Jake said, smiling at her. "I was just thinking about how far we've come. It's been a tough journey, but I'm grateful for where we are now." Anna nodded, her eyes filled with understanding. "You've done an amazing job, Jake. You've created something truly special here." "Thanks, Anna," Jake said, feeling a deep sense of gratitude. "I couldn't have done it without all of you." They stood in companionable silence for a moment, enjoying the peaceful night. Then, Anna turned to Jake, her expression serious. "Jake, there's something I need to tell you," she said softly. "I've been offered a job in another city. It's a great opportunity, but it means I'll have to move away." Jake felt a pang of sadness. "Wow, Anna. I'm happy for you, but I'll miss you." "I'll miss you too," Anna said, her eyes shining with emotion. "You've become a dear friend, Jake, but this is something I need to do for myself." "I understand," Jake said, his voice steady. "And I support you. You've always been there for me, and I want you to follow your dreams." They hugged, a bittersweet moment that marked the end of one chapter and the beginning of another. Jake knew that their friendship would endure, no matter the distance. As the party wound down and the guests began to leave, Jake and Lisa stood at the door, bidding everyone farewell. The house was quiet again, the echoes of laughter and joy lingering in the air. "That was a wonderful party," Lisa said, leaning against Jake. "I'm so glad we did this." "Me too," Jake replied, wrapping his arm around her. "It is moments like these that remind me of how lucky we are." Lisa looked up at him, her eyes filled with love. "We've come a long way, Jake, and I am grateful for every step of this journey with you." "I love you, Lisa," Jake said, his voice filled with emotion. "And I am committed to our future, no matter what challenges we face." "I love you too," Lisa whispered, leaning in to kiss him. As they stood there, wrapped in each other's embrace, Jake felt a profound sense of peace. The road ahead would have its challenges, but with their renewed commitment to each other and the support of their friends, they were ready to face whatever came their way. The next morning, Christmas Day dawned bright and clear. They gathered around the tree, exchanging gifts and enjoying the warmth of their family bond. Megan's laughter filled the room as she unwrapped her presents, her joy contagious. Later that day, they took a walk through the snow-covered woods, savoring the beauty of the season. The world was quiet and still, a perfect backdrop for their reflections and conversations. As they walked, Jake felt a deep sense of gratitude for the journey they had been on. The pain and struggles had been worth it, leading them to a place of healing and growth. He knew there would be more challenges ahead, but he also knew they had the strength and support to overcome them. That evening, as they sat by the fire, Megan snuggled between them. Jake looked at his family and felt a sense of contentment and hope. The future was bright, and he was ready to embrace it with open arms. Lisa looked at him, her eyes filled with love. "Merry Christmas, Jake." "Merry Christmas, Lisa," Jake replied, his heart full. "Here's to new beginnings and endless possibilities." As they sat there, surrounded by the warmth of their home and the love of their family, Jake knew that they were ready for whatever came next. The journey was far from over, but with their renewed commitment to each other and the support of their friends and community, they were ready to face the future together. Chapter 10. Hope and Healing. The new year began with a sense of renewed hope and purpose for Jake and his family. The holiday season had brought them closer, and the bonds they had worked so hard to rebuild were stronger than ever. The town of Oak Ridge, too, seemed to be filled with a spirit of renewal, as everyone looked forward to the possibilities of the coming year. Jake found himself busier than ever, balancing work, family, and his commitments to the Broken Hearts Club. The club had grown into a tight-knit community of men who supported each other through their personal struggles. They organized regular events, from poker nights to charity drives, creating a sense of purpose and belonging. One crisp Saturday morning, Jake and Lisa decided to take Megan ice skating at the local rink. It was a beautiful winter day, and the rink was filled with families enjoying the festive atmosphere. As they laced up their skates, Jake noticed Megan's excited grin and felt a warmth in his heart. "Ready to show us your moves, Meg?" Jake asked teasingly. "You bet, Dad," Megan replied, her eyes sparkling with excitement. They spent the morning gliding across the ice, laughing and holding hands. It was a perfect day, filled with the simple joys of being together. As they took a break to warm up with hot cocoa, Lisa turned to Jake, her expression thoughtful. "Jake, I've been thinking," she began. "We've made so much progress, and I'm so grateful for where we are now. But I think it's time for us to take the next step." Jake looked at her, curious. "What do you mean?" "I want us to renew our vows," Lisa said, her eyes filled with emotion, "to celebrate our journey and our commitment to each other. What do you think?" Jake felt a surge of emotion. "Lisa, I think that's a wonderful idea. Let us do it." They began planning the vow renewal ceremony, enlisting the help of their friends and family. It would be a small, intimate gathering, a celebration of their love and resilience. Megan was thrilled at the idea, eager to be a part of the special day. As the weeks went by, Jake and Lisa worked together to make the ceremony perfect. They chose a beautiful spot by the lake, where the winter landscape would provide a stunning backdrop. Their friends from the Broken Hearts Club offered their support, helping with the preparations and planning a reception. The day of the ceremony arrived, bright and clear. The lake was frozen over, reflecting the soft winter sunlight. Jake stood by the water's edge, his heart pounding with anticipation. He looked around at the gathered friends and family, feeling a deep sense of gratitude for their presence. Tom, who had become a close friend and confidant, approached him with a grin. "You ready for this, Jake?" "More than ready," Jake replied, smiling. "Thanks for being here, Tom. It means a lot." "It is an honor, buddy," Tom said, clapping him on the shoulder. The music began, and Megan walked down the aisle, holding a bouquet of winter flowers. She looked radiant, her face glowing with happiness. Jake's eyes filled with tears as he watched her, feeling a swell of pride and love. Then came Lisa, looking more beautiful than ever. She wore a simple, elegant dress, her smile lighting up the entire scene. As she reached Jake, he took her hands, his heart overflowing with emotion. The officiant, a close family friend, began the ceremony with a warm smile. "We are gathered here today to celebrate the renewal of vows between Jake and Lisa, a testament to their love, resilience, and commitment to each other." Jake and Lisa exchanged vows, their voices filled with sincerity and love. They spoke of the journey they had been on, the challenges they had faced, and their unwavering dedication to each other. There wasn't a dry eye in the audience as they finished, sealing their promises with a kiss. The reception that followed was filled with joy and laughter. The Broken Hearts Club had outdone themselves, creating a warm and festive atmosphere. They shared stories, danced, and celebrated the special day. Later that evening, as the sun set over the frozen lake, Jake and Lisa took a moment to themselves. They stood by the water's edge, holding hands and watching the reflection of the sunset on the ice. "This has been a perfect day," Lisa said softly, leaning against Jake. "Thank you for everything." "No, thank you, Lisa," Jake replied, his voice filled with emotion. "For believing in us, for fighting for our family. I love you more than words can say." "I love you too, Jake," Lisa whispered, turning to kiss him. As they stood there, wrapped in each other's embrace, Jake felt a profound sense of peace and fulfillment. The journey they had been on had been challenging, but it had brought them to a place of healing and hope. He knew that they could face any future challenges together, with the love and support of their friends and family. The next morning, Jake woke up early, feeling invigorated and ready to take on the day. He decided to go for a run, enjoying the quiet solitude of the early morning. As he ran through the snowy streets of Oak Ridge, he felt a sense of clarity and purpose. When he returned home, he found Megan and Lisa in the kitchen preparing breakfast. The smell of pancakes filled the air, and Jake's heart swelled with happiness. "Good morning, ladies," Jake said, kissing them both on the forehead. "What s on the menu? Pancakes, eggs, and bacon," Megan announced proudly. "We're having a big family breakfast." "Sounds perfect," Jake said, smiling. "Let me help." They spent the morning together, enjoying the simple pleasures of family life. As they sat down to eat, Jake looked around the table, feeling a deep sense of contentment and gratitude. Later that day, they decided to take a walk through the town, visiting their favorite spots and enjoying the winter scenery. They stopped by the local bookstore, where Megan picked out a new book and then headed to the park to build another snowman. As they walked back home, Megan looked up at Jake and Lisa, her eyes filled with happiness. "This has been the best day ever." "It really has," Jake agreed, smiling at her. "And there are many more to come." That evening, as they sat by the fire, Jake reflected on the journey they had been on. The pain and struggles had been worth it, leading them to a place of healing and growth. He knew there would be more challenges ahead, but he also knew they had the strength and support to overcome them. Lisa looked at him, her eyes filled with love. "We have come so far, Jake, and I'm so grateful for every moment with you." "Me too, Lisa," Jake said, his voice filled with emotion. "Here's to our future, and all the amazing moments we have yet to share." As they sat there, surrounded by the warmth of their home and the love of their family, Jake knew that they were ready for whatever came next. The journey was far from over, but with their renewed commitment to each other and the support of their friends and community, they were ready to face the future together.